Yep.
InSaintChildren.com. Impressive win tonight. What was your overall opinion of how everything shook out?
I mean, I think, we did a great job executing the game plan. I thought Jared Allen was phenomenal, taking the challenge, guarding one of the best players in our game, most versatile players in our game. And he accepted the challenge. He was physical, he was intelligent, made him work for everything. And then as a group offensively, I thought we did a great job of just sharing the ball, playing together, and taking what was there. I think we found, the pick and roll game, how it was working, and how we could create advantages, and then everybody got involved from there.
Basketball is as much of a mental game as it is a physical game, and it showed that Jared could get into the head of Nikola Jokic, who's, as you say, one of the better players in the league. And you also have players like Craig Porter Jr. who have that mentality to just stay focused. What is it like to know that you have a younger squad but a more mature squad in the same way?
I mean, it's comforting, that you got guys out there that you can trust. It's important as a group that they trust each other. And I think that's what that maturity leads to. That maturity leads to guys understanding their position, their roles, where they're going to be on the floor, how they, protect one another on both sides of the floor, how they put each other in positions of strength offensively. So I think, the maturity is a huge thing, and that's where the growth starts. Is you have guys who understand, and that's the foundation.
Great games for Darius Garland, and also got his backup man in Craig Porter Jr. doing his thing. How did you grade their performances today?
I think both of them did a great job of just taking what was there. Again, the pick and roll game was really, really good for us. It created a lot of opportunities for both those guys, but I thought they both were attack-minded. And it wasn't just on the offensive end of the floor. I think when you're the point guard or the lead guard and you're at the front of the defense all the time, the people behind you, they see you, and they carry your energy. So if you're not getting after it, it can bring the group down. But I thought both of them did a great job being the head of the snake defensively, putting pressure on guys, defeating screens and those types of things.
Sam.
Sam Amica, Hoopswire. JB, seemed like a tale of two halves for Jared, at least statistically. What do you think? What did he contribute there, particularly in the second half? What worked for him?
The pick and roll game, they changed a little bit how they were covering it and went into a deeper drop, and that allowed him to get the ball in the pocket. He's good with both hands in that pocket. And I thought Darius and all the guards, the guys that were attacking, once they saw that big back and that space for Jared, they just kept getting him the ball. So, we've got a group of guys, again, that, are learning and figuring out the game, but mostly how they can help each other. And the simplest thing, that we try to get across to guys is just throw the ball to the open man. And tonight, in that second half, Jarrett was the open man quite a bit.
Joe?
How much stock do you put in plus minus?
That's an amazing number. I haven't seen a plus 42 in 29 minutes. That's a heck of a number. We normally say the plus minus is for agents to negotiate contracts, but that's a heck of a number.
And I know it's only 2 games, but Craig Porter had quite a weekend. And then you've got depth at the guard spot when everybody's healthy, which is another matter, I guess. But has he shown you enough to where you feel like you can trust him and play him, like, even if you have healthy bodies?
Yeah, obviously, like, that position is kind of crowded when you are healthy and guys are playing, but what it gives you an opportunity is, like, you don't have to stretch guys out, right? Like, you can play guys, a reasonable amount of minutes because you have a guy that you can put in. And, what we've been testing is how he plays alongside Darius. So we've been able to see that these past couple games. So now he could kind of play either guard spot with those guys. So, again, we do have a lot of guards and wings when we are healthy, but, he's proven that he's capable and he can help us.
I had one bigger picture question. If you go back to what happened in the playoffs last year, that 5-game series, and you try to gauge if your team has improved, like, and shored up the spots that you were vulnerable in that series, how do you know that you've done it before you actually get into a playoff series and either win or lose? Like, what are you looking for to say, like, we're tougher, we're more physical, we can do the things that you got exploited on back then?
Yeah, look, obviously we're like everybody. We've got to see it. I think that second game that we played on the back-to-back in New York, I thought our guys showed it. I thought they were gritty. I thought we were, the more physical team that game. I thought we were really, really good defensively as a whole, controlling the ball, taking individual challenges and those types of things. But it's about the consistency, right? So I think it's too early for me to jump out here and say, hooray, we've done the job. Like, we have to show it to each other, for the remainder of this season. Obviously, you have your ups and downs, but like, those are the things you have to see. I think, one of the things that also kind of bogged us down was offensively, we were so stationary and they could shrink the floor and put their hands on us. And I think, to this point, pretty consistently, you can see more of a flow to our offense, more guys who can move off the ball and create, advantages that way, and then, finish at the end of it with either, paint attacks or catch and shoot. So I think those are the things that we'll kind of mark as we go along. But, it's too early to say it's done, right? It's something that you have to consistently do and create the identity of that's who you are, and we're still working on that.
Spencer Davies, Cavs Insider, you kind of use the words, take what they give you. But the decisiveness when the guys had the ball in their hands, it seemed like they were really quick processing tonight. How vital is that when you're trying to get an offense to work together the way it did tonight?
Again, I hate to oversimplify it, but like in the NBA, if you just throw the ball to the open man, good things are probably going to happen for you. And as easy as that sounds, like, it's something that you have to continue to work on. But, with the amount of guys and the threats that we have here and what they're capable of, if you just throw the ball to the open man, it's as easy as you can make it. And then the defenses have to make tough decisions from, now do I rotate? How do we change a coverage? What adjustments do we make? So, our thing is just keep throwing the ball to the open man and make it as simple as we can.
Specifically the shooters, like, as soon as they got the ball, they were throwing it up. Like, that's something, too, I think, that has improved as the season's gone along.
Yeah, when you're going to get the ball and you're going to get a shot, your shot preparation is key. And I think that's what guys are starting to understand is, like, I know where my spots are. I know that, player A can make the pass to me, so I can get to my spot, and when I get to my spot, I'm going to get the ball. And I think that's where the trust is being built. Is like, these are not like oh no or oh wow shots, right? These are shots we've executed. We moved the ball, we're in position, and we're ready to shoot it.
Chris?
JB, what was the plan tonight against Jokic?
We just wanted to make it as difficult as we possibly could. He's so dynamic when he touches the ball that we just tried our best to not let him touch it. We tried to front him all over the floor, deny him as much as we possibly can, and just make it difficult. He brings the ball up the floor, so obviously he puts more pressure on you. But we just wanted to touch him as much as we possibly could, and put him in the action on the backside, and kind of move him around a little bit so that he just doesn't have all his energy to play offense.
In past games, you were always consistent in trying to match Jarrett's minutes with Jokic. What is it about Jarrett that gives you the confidence that in some of those matchups against the premier centers in the NBA, like, he's the guy that you can
Again, it all comes down to the trust. And I know, whatever's happening, Jarrett's going to give his best effort. He's going to go out and he's going to try to execute the game plan. So on nights where it doesn't look as good, it's probably on us that the game plan wasn't real good. But Jarrett goes out and he competes, and, like, you tell Jarrett, do this, like, Jarrett's going to go out and do his best to do that. Some of these guys are really good and just have good nights, but it's not going to be from a lack of effort or execution with Jarrett.
And then going back to Craig, something that we talked about in pregame and you touched on here in postgame, like, was there a moment throughout the course of this season, early on, that you saw something in him, besides the fact that you desperately needed a point guard, where you're like, you know what, I can go to this guy?
Yeah, to me, honestly, it was more about summer league and training camp than it was just like a moment in these small periods of time. He is a very mature basketball player, and he just has a game. He's not hunting or searching to figure out who he is. Like, he knows exactly who he is. He knows how to get to his spots and, when and how to be aggressive. So, you just have belief and trust in a guy who always seems to be composed and never over his skis. And that's how Craig has been for us since he's gotten here.
Last two, Evan, then
Evan did all right down equal. JB, when the team's fully healthy, obviously not everybody's going to play, but like in situations like this, when you call on guys like Craig or Sam or even Tristan at times too. Like, how much of a luxury is it just to have guys 1 through 15 that are, or 17 or 18, including the two-way guys that are just prepared and ready to play whenever you need them to?
I mean, that's what professional sports is about. The NBA in particular, I can speak on, is like throughout an 82-game season, everybody's going to get an opportunity to play. It's how many guys that you have that act professionally enough that are ready when their numbers are called. And those guys that you're talking about are the ultimate professionals. They take their craft extremely serious. They work their tails off. They make sure they stay in shape. They make sure they understand the system, all those things. So, when their number is called, they're ready to go. And, the best part about them is they're competitive. Like, they want to play. They put a lot of pressure on me, and we have a lot of conversations about, those guys wanting to get on the floor. So, we're confident in them. Their teammates are confident in them, and they have that belief and professionalism in themselves also.
I know you've been talking just about how the offensive flow is more or less, guy gets an open look, gets an easy shot opportunity, but it seems like it's just been a point of emphasis in these last few games. You guys have just been getting downhill and applying constant pressure at the basket. It's just the product of what you're talking about, or maybe a little bit of a point of emphasis for you guys too?
I mean, it's definitely a point of emphasis for us, but we've always talked about being aggressive in the paint, and we continue. You add guys that can space the floor, which gives you room, but that doesn't mean we want to be a team that just settles. The way the league is set up, where you're not really allowed to put your hands on people, and how many guys do you know are as quick going backwards as these guys are going forward? So now you're attacking, brings help, and now the plays just become that much easier to make.
Last one.
Pre-game, we talked about how important it was to get on the glass and clean up missed shots. Today was one of those days where it needed to happen to get the win. You guys only allowed 9 offensive rebounds, and it played. Tell me how it played so much of a role in getting this win tonight.
Again, finishing possessions. When you're playing against an elite offensive team like the Nuggets are, you can't afford to give them extra opportunities. So, you give yourself a chance, but those plays become demoralizing, right? If you give up an offensive rebound after a great stop and they finish it, or they kick it out for a 3, those things can be momentum shifting, moves. So, it's extremely important for us, and we've got to continue to get better at it. It can't be something that we settle on. There's no reason why we can't be a better defensive rebounding team with the guys we put out there. So it's something that we'll keep hitting our guys over the head with. We've got to continue to get better at and keep working.